Hi, in this video, we're going to talk about one of my favorite aspects of Employee Central. It's called position reclassification. I also believe that it is one of the least understood and least utilized aspects of Employee Central. What is it and how can it help you with your processes? Stick around and find out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is describe to you what position reclassification is, then run through a couple of demos, one without position reclassification and then one with position reclassification to help you see the benefit of it. But before I even get there, I really need to talk through some of the basics of HR technology. And that is that HR systems have positions and they have employees. Between those two, we have shared attributes. So these are things that are in common between the position and the employee. So things like cost center, supervisor, departments, things like that. So what these shared attributes allow you to do is real simply is when your employee moves around the company, they're able to inherit whatever the attributes of that position are. So, as you hire people in, all you have to do is supply the position number, and boom, everything kind of pops in. So your supervisors, cost centers, what job they're in, pay grades, stuff like that is all going to get pre-populated on the employee. It simplifies things. It also helps with data integrity. So it's a really useful thing. And then conversely, or additionally, as you move around the organization, as you get transferred around, once you get moved into a new position, of course, you're also able to inherit the attributes of the new position. So another thing to keep in mind with this is that this happens seamlessly and automatically if you're in a system like a lot of customers are using these days, which includes recruiting and onboarding in Employee Central altogether. This means that you're going to automatically, once you get to the end of that recruiting process, it's automatically going to take that position and automatically put in the selected employee into that position. So this scenario where we're just having an employee, they're assuming a new position and it's gone through recruiting. These are not the scenario that we're really talking about with position reclassification. The scenario where position reclassification comes in is actually what happens when there is a change to the employee, but there's really not a transfer going on. So in other words, there's no backfill going on. The person is really staying where they're at, but there is still some change that needs to happen to one of those shared attributes between the position and the employee. So some examples of this would be an inline promotion. So if you're going from an accountant 1 to an accountant 2, or maybe you're staying in the same job, you're staying in the same department, but you're just changing supervisors. So what happens in those types of scenarios? So in old school SAP HR, which I know quite well from my past, you had really one of two choices. Either you could create a brand new position, like in the example of needing to move somebody from an accountant 1 to an accountant 2, you would create a brand new position. And then you would, if you're diligent, you would get rid of the old position. And if you weren't diligent, that old position would just be sitting out there. That would be one option available to you. The other option is to go just update the position, go make an update to that specific position that person's already holding. And change it from an accountant 1 to an accountant 2. Then go over and finish out the transaction inside on the employee side. So you would just go reselect the position. All the attributes would get defaulted in with the new values, and then you would be done with the transaction. Problem with that is that process, that two-step process where you have to do some of it on the position side and some of it on the employee side, really means that the process is way too convoluted to expect managers to be involved. And the thing that we want to have happen today, and has been the case for a long time, is to have managers involved in the processes, particularly simple processes where we're moving someone from supervising, maybe moving supervisors, or inline promotions. So for these types of changes, SAP HR was frankly a little bit lacking. But the good news is, in SuccessFactors, there's a new way to do these types of things. So in cases where you're just making a change to the employee, and it's really not moving them elsewhere in the organization, SuccessFactors provides something new called position reclassification. And quite simply, what position reclassification does is it allows you to make changes on the employee's record and then have those changes sync back to the position that person is holding. So instead of having to go always update the position first, position reclassification allows us to make changes on the employee side and then have that synchronized back to the position. So now let's go through and talk about a business scenario and a couple of examples. To illustrate the reasons why the synchronization back to the position is really useful, I'm going to go through a typical business scenario, which is an inline promotion. So our employee, Janice Fredrickson, is ready to make the move from Engineer 1 to Engineer 2. She's actually not moving. She's going to remain in the same department and have the same supervisor, but she is ready to take on more responsibility. So she's going to get a promotion, and from Engineer 1 to Engineer 2, and with that will come a 10% raise. So first time through, we're going to do scenario 1, which is going through the process the old way, where you have to make the change to the position first. And see how that process all works out. Then, in the second scenario, we're going to do the exact same process, but we're going to use the new process where we are able to initiate everything from the employee and see how much easier that is. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so scenario 1 is where we are going to do it the old way, where we're going in and we are going to update the position first, then we are going to update the employee side. So we're going to start by looking at our position, our Engineer 1 position for Janice, and we are going to make an update directly here on the position. So I'm updating and I'm going to change the job code from Engineer 1 to Engineer 2. And now you'll notice that when I do that, the salary grade is going to go from 10 to 11. And so we have the position all set up and ready to go. So now we're going to press save. And when we do, we're going to get a pop-up to route for approval for the position change. I'm also noting down on the position request kind of what is going on the position, basically saying that this is actually effectively the Janice's promotion that is going through the system. So putting in some text along those lines. And so now I'm going to click confirm, and this will kick off the workflow to get the position approved so that we can approve the update of the position from Engineer 1 to Engineer 2. Now, what I'm going to show you is just go through and I'm going to approve this position and show that the approval is taking place for the position. So now we will just approve the position. And the next thing we're going to show is we're going to go into Janice's record. And the nice thing is that after the position change was approved, if we look at Janice's record, the change flowed from the position down to Janice's record, and the promotion did automatically get derived. So that part worked pretty well. So we have an automatic derivation on the Janice's record to show that there was a promotion. But that's not everything that we need to do. As we talked about, Janice also needs a 10% raise. So we're going to go through and now we have to do that as a second step. And so here we're going in and we're going into the compensation, and we are going to give Janice a 10% raise. And so we'll go in, just use the nice little automated calculator there to get the 10% raise. We're going to press save. And then now we're going to have to do another workflow because we need to do a workflow on the compensation change. So we're going to go through. Now, I'm not going to go through and go step by step through all the approvals. We're just going to do a one approval as a demonstration. So as we go through this, you can see I'm going to so I'm proxied in as an approver, and I'm just going to approve without comments again, just in the interest of time. Normally, you would expect people to go in and actually look at what's happening. Okay, so the change is now approved. So the comp change is now approved for Janice. Let's go look at Janice's record now. So of course, on the position side, we still show a promotion as we should, but on compensation, what we're going to see here is the event that got derived is not the event we want. It is going to be market adjustment. And that's because the system has no way of tying those two changes together, the promotion that's already taken place. So it's calling it a market adjustment. So here you can see another big challenge that we have from doing this two-step process. So in summary, we have an unintuitive process, and really think of it two ways. One, we have to approve a position change, not a promotion. And then secondly, we have to approve comp change separately, which also ends up with the incorrect event reason. So hopefully you can see from that the challenges that we have going through this. Okay, so this concludes Demo 1. Demo 2, we're going to use position reclassification to make the process a whole heck of a lot more intuitive. Okay, so now we're going to go through scenario 2, and in this scenario, we're going to go directly to the employee's record. So we're going to go into Janice's record directly, and from here, we're going to change the job and comp information at the same time. And so you're going to see here now, all that we're going to change is we're going to update the job classification. We're going to update from Engineer 1 to Engineer 2. Now, I'm in as administrator, so they've got a lot of access, but you can lock this down for a manager, so maybe they have the job classification field and not much else that they're able to maintain to just really simplify this process for the manager. So they go through, they update to the new job, which updates the pay grade, and then additionally, we're going to change the percentage here. And so as we talked about, we are going to change the percentage to by 10%. And we're doing all of this in one transaction here. You can see here that the promotion request has been derived. And now we're going to go through and we're going to confirm this. First, we're going to put in some description of what is going on here, which is also a really nice feature going this way, because if you'll remember, we didn't, on the promotion itself, we didn't put in any information itself on the workflow request. But now we're going in and we're going to go through the approval process. Now there's a multiple step approval process in this system, but we're just going to skip through and we're only going to show one of the approvals, but you get the idea. So we're going to go in here. We're simply going to go in and we're going to approve this transaction. Now we're going to go in and drill into the transaction itself so that you can see, again, we have updated some information on job information and comp information at the same time. And we could post some comments if we wanted to, but in this case, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to approve. And so we have completed this transaction. So it was much simpler this time. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to show you both sides of the equation on this. Now if I go in and I look at Janice's record, you will see, not surprisingly, that the promotion will appear on the job information, but beyond that, additionally, if I go to compensation information, you'll see right off the bat that if I go in and I look at the transaction, the promotion, the event reason is automatically assigned as promotion. Again, really simple process. Now, last thing to show you, just to show my work, I'm going to go in and show you on the position itself. And as you can see, the position was updated. So basically, the position was able to take the attributes that we have, the changes that we made on the employee side, and show them on the position as well. And if you've been paying attention, you will know that the reason that the position is getting updated based on the employee change is position reclassification. So hopefully now you understand more of the value of position reclassification. This concludes our tour of position reclassification. I hope you can see why this is one of my favorite areas of SuccessFactors functionality. However, I do have some frustrations with it because it does not work 100% of the time. In part 2 of this series, we're going to go through a couple of scenarios where position reclassification does not work. And then also during part 2, I'm going to introduce you to a solution that I believe resolves the gaps in position reclassification. So stand by for that, and thank you for your time.